Senator, it's revolting, it's offensive, it's disgusting, it's heartbreaking. The carnage that's happening in cities across the country and in Atlanta. Who do you blame?
Well, Eric, thanks for having me on. This is tragic, and my heart breaks for Sequoia Turner and her family. This was a needless act of murder that could have been prevented. It's what I've been warning about for weeks. When you move to defund the police, the radical movement to defund the police is creating havoc for the safety of our communities. And what's happened is it's resulted in the death of a child. And look, I've been calling for an end to this senseless violence, and I was criticized because I'm a conservative. But look what's happened. A child has died, and the governor has rightly shown decisive leadership and brought in the National Guard to regain order. And we need to stop the violence now.
Here's what the governor said. Governor Kemp saying, quote, peaceful protests were hijacked by criminals with a dangerous, destructive agenda. This measure will allow troops to protect state property and dispatch state law enforcement officers to patrol our streets. Enough with the tough talk. We must protect the lives and livelihoods of all Georgians. Senators, do you believe that there is a decline in the respect for law enforcement, for police officers, and this is one of the reasons why you're seeing this chaos?
Well, there's no reason to have a decline in respect for our police officers. I've stood strong with law enforcement. In fact, I've introduced legislation that prevents federal funding for those that actively move to defund the police. What we need to be doing right now is giving our strong men and women of law enforcement their ability to do their jobs. I co-sponsored the Justice Act in the Senate to make sure that we provide them the resources, that we root out bad apples, that we get those the data to the front lines to understand what's happening. And the Democrats wouldn't move on it, and they are not truly trying to help us reform. They're actually using it to politicize the defund the police movement. It's very dangerous. We're seeing the breakdown of public safety in our communities, and Georgians are very concerned, and that's why the governor had to take this decisive action to bring in the National Guard and restore order, because it's true, enough is enough. The time has come to strengthen our support for law enforcement and end this terrible experiment.
Sequoia Turner was in the car. She's in the back seat. They drive off the highway. They get to where the barricades are, perhaps protesters, at least armed men, and she's shot to death. Her father gave a heartfelt plea saying, they say Black Lives Matter. You killed your own. Where's Al Sharpton in all this? Where's some of the activists? Do you think they should be out there protesting against this? I mean, he has before. What would you say to those, especially in the minority community, who are suffering so much from this tragic violence?
Well, there are so many that are concerned, but I would say, where's the public outrage? This is a critical time for our country to come together, to strengthen our communities, to provide that support when we need it most. Crime is skyrocketing. Violent crime is skyrocketing. It's doubled in many cities. And this is the time when we have to say, let's put politics aside and put public safety first. And we need strong leaders who are willing to do that. And I've called to replace mob rule with the rule of law. And I was criticized, but now look what's happened. A child's been murdered, and this is wrong. We've got to get back to the rule of law, and I commend the governor for doing just that.